All right, what is up, everybody? It's John, and Cody here, and we are back for another challenge. Stay tuned. We're going to go over the rules in just a second.
All right, so as John mentioned, we are going to go right back into another challenge after John took the, $1,200 SGC challenge?
That's right. Well, it wasn't SGC challenge. It was just a $1,200 challenge.
It was a $1,200 SGC challenge.
He's tripping over his words.
Them as the grading company, but this time we're bumping up the money that each of us have. Yes, they allowed me to have an extra $100, so we're each going to have $500 in this challenge, and we are only going to use PSA as the grading company. So we're going to tag this as our $1,500 challenge for PSA, and it's going to span a long period of time. So we're going to try to get real creative with this. Jim and John is going to start off with some of the dates and rules for this challenge.
Rules and regulations.
All right, the rules are you have $1,500 to spend. That's $500 each. I'm adding a rule: you cannot lose money. You must make money. That's another rule that I added.
What happens if you?
Why were you looking right at me?
But anybody that watched the last challenge knows why I'm looking at you. So May 15th is the deadline to send all your cards. This challenge started about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
John gets bored. His envelopes are empty. He's like, you know what, guys? Let's do a challenge. And then we bumped it up even more.
We had talked about it a little bit.
We tossed it around. So May 15th is the deadline to get our cards to send in PSA. The reason we're doing that is the grading times. Even though they're flying now, we want to make sure we get the cards back in time for the hype for football. June 15th, you must have your money for grading in the account. This is a little bit different because when you submit cards to PSA, they don't charge you until you get the money. Actually, they finish, complete it. The
Once
whole
it's
thing's
graded
done.
and they're about to send it back, that's when they charge you.
So there's a 2 or 3 week, depending on how long, QA1, QA2 takes. So you got a little bit of time to play with the money.
Yeah.
And then we have to sell all the cards. You can list them as buy it now up until the time that we get the cards back. Like we have raw cards that you can't sell, you can list them as buy it now. All the auctions must be ended by the second week of the season. The schedule hasn't come out yet, so it's usually around September 7th the season starts, so around the 15th or whatever it is.
We're going to be doing something a little bit different. So like for the SGC challenge, we kind of sold all the cards right before baseball season started, and that was a little bit of a mistake, I think, because all of the prices kept going up a week after into the season. So we're going to try and change this one up and have all the cards sell by the second week of football season. So hopefully it helps us out a little bit, but we'll see. It gives us a little bit more time to try and sell things ahead of time. Now, John did say that we have to have the cards by that date. We have to have the money by June 15th to pay for grading, but that doesn't mean we can't be flipping other cards in the meantime. So we have the $500. This challenge is essentially make as much money as possible with $500, sending some cards to PSA early, but that doesn't mean you can't send your own individual orders later. Say you found a real nice card you want to get graded for $50. You can still send that off on the side, still be flipping cards on the side, making money. So this is going to be really interesting. It's a much longer challenge than the SGC challenge. This one's probably going to be 4 or 5 months?
Yeah.
In total, SGC was like 2 months, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this is going to span a lot longer. We're probably going to have a couple more episodes than we did in the last one, just kind of maybe update videos. We're still going to trash talk nonstop because, it's
that's
funny.
Not yours. Can you stop holding it? That's not yours.
I feel like you spared no expense here, and you just put a piece of paper over my title of $1,200.
I could not get that covered up quick enough.
I was like, we have $1,500, but you put a piece of paper over this trophy.
You started the $1,500 challenge, and John said, okay, the $1,200 challenge trophy is no longer in existence. So
I don't even remember what happened with that one.
No?
What happened?
Yeah, we made it solid $58. That's what happened in that video.
That's why I added the
That's
new
the whole
rule.
recap right there.
We, as NBC, need to make money.
Well, we did.
we tried.
I know.
We all tried. So
This
one
is
thing
more
that
comfortable for us, too. Football,
PSA, football. Listen, if we all can't make money in this challenge, and I'm really talking about myself, but I can't look at myself. If we can't make money in this challenge, it's actually gonna be kind of disappointing. But one thing that I want to point out, because John kind of glossed over it, and he's glossed over it off camera when we've been discussing it, is the money has to be in the bank account by June 15th for all the cards that you send to PSA. We're not saying that any of us have to send a specific number of cards, but there is that one specific requirement that your grading costs have to be in there regardless of the status of the order. Now, if the individual does not have enough money in the bank account to cover all of their costs for grading for that order that we all ship collectively, then that person has to choose at minimum one card from their PSA order to disqualify. Everything from that, all the profit that could potentially be obtained from the sale, all the sales is going to be disqualified. So that individual is only going to take all the cost. That's their burden, is all the cost, but everything else is going to be off of the table. Now, if you have to disqualify more than 2 cards to get to that point, to that break-even point, well, I hope you sent a lot to PSA because you're going to need it. But at the end of the day, if you don't have the money by June 15th, that person gets to disqualify one of their own cards. I know Jim and John said one of us should disqualify that
I think
person,
the other 2 guys should pick the card that guy has to forfeit.
And I'm going to laugh so hard when it's your card that
I've
gets
already got all my
disqualified.
money. I'm not going to send stuff to grading and not have enough money for it. You
So-
guys were like, well, wait, technically you don't have to have that money. If you want to take
There's
a
a lot of
chance,
strategy that goes
little
into
bit
this,
different.
and we'll probably have our own separate strategy video. But
Yeah.
we I don't want to say my strategy right off the bat, but it's a lot different than his.
Are you going
He
with
likes
all one
to
guy?
he likes to save a portion of money for the grading. I buy it all up front, then I sell some of the cards to cover the grading, just because you have a better chance of getting gradable cards doing
Yeah,
that
but
way.
we'll go over strategy.
Strategy
in another
later,
video.
strategy
Yeah,
later.
Yeah, so just want to make sure that we're all under the same expectations. We essentially get a $500 loan from NBC for the next 4 to 5 months until that second week of the regular season. But there's that one requirement. The money is due by June 15th.
Not yours.
And apparently Jim and John thinks he's going to win this challenge. I'm very excited for
Very
this challenge
confident, yeah.
to not only redeem myself,
Redemption.
but also see what these guys do. I get a glimpse into what this guy does all the time, but Jim and John, he's
My cards are an open book.
Keep
John's
them
come a
close.
long way.
Keep
you
them
know?
close.
So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
See, the thing is, I showed you guys all my cards during the last challenge, and I still won, so it didn't matter. So.
Ooh,
John
fun.
kept them close to his chest, and he barely broke even. So.
Yeah. But he didn't lose money.
Yep, he sure didn't.
One
And
thing
I don't know
John
who
will
did.
not be doing this time is buying SGC cards to, like last time I bought the PSA cards
Yeah.
and you guys were giving me a hard time because it was SGC.
You can buy SGC
Yeah.
cards, crack them, and resend them. There's
Well,
no problem with that.
Crack them, but not
Yeah.
buy them just to sell.
Like,
Here's one extra thing that I want to mention, just that the audience knows what the heck we're talking about. John mentioned that if we have cards later on in the challenge that we want to send off to get graded from PSA, that we can do that. And yes, that's 100% correct. But what the audience needs to know is that the first shipment that we all collectively send our cards to on May 15th,
Yep.
NBC is going to cover the cost of shipping to and from. If they do their own individual order, or I do my own individual order after that, or in addition to that, we have to cover the cost of shipping to and from. So there's a benefit of having all your cards by May 15th, but there's also, a possibility to still generate some money from PSA
Right.
slab cards. You just have to watch your money.
And you're
because
taking a
you know,
chance
no,
on
it's
not getting
it's
them back in
very
time.
very possible that you get all your cards in your possession, and none of them are gradable by the time that May 15th rolls around. So you have to sell them off and start over essentially. So you might only have 1 or 2 cards at PSA, and you're like, I need another order. So that might be part of where that strategy comes in. You never know. So
Taking a chance. So if you try to send cards off end of July or beginning of July, end of June,
You might
and
have
don't
to
get
pay
them back in time. You have to
Yeah.
bump up the shipping
Yeah.
and then hope that it goes through as quick as everything else has been moving.
One thing that comes to mind is if someone's doing really well with flipping early on into this challenge, or if PSA is just flying through with their grading and somebody's willing to take just a little bit of profit, they could, collect all that money, put it into one card, ship it off to PSA, and hope and pray.
there's a lot of variables, because we
Yeah.
could very possibly get these cards graded and back by June, sell them, buy more cards, and send them maybe not express, but the $50
Just
rate.
bump
Get them
up,
back
yeah.
in like a month and still have them in time to sell. So there's a lot of different things that can change as we go throughout this competition. And if it sounds like we're making up the rules as we go, it's because we're making up the rules as we go. And it's pretty fluid right now, but I think it's essentially comes down to who can make the most money from their initial $500 investment. So.
And you can't grade with anybody else but PSA.
But
you can
PSA.
buy graded cards from another company, but you can only grade with PSA.
Yep.
Yeah, because I was thinking about sending some cards to SGC. I won't lie.
Were you really?
Yes, I was.
Why?
I was gonna dabble in some vintage and see if
Okay,
that really
that
worked,
might work.
but
Yeah.
it's not an option. So.
Okay.
Strategy video. save
Anything
that.
else? Anything else you want to add to this?
No, don't lose any money.
Don't lose money. He's looking directly at
I'm
you.
not looking at me.
Looking directly. Okay, so that is pretty much it, guys. Hopefully, this is a series that we can all enjoy. I know that we're gonna have a great time doing it. I know I've already bought a bunch of cards, already doing deals on the side. I've already made a little bit of money, but we will go into that in some of the future episodes. So until then, we will see you guys later.